Hello everyone and welcome to the Malware Analysis course. In this course you will gain the knowledge and experience on dissecting malware. My name is Riel Kosaev. I'm the author of the Antivirus Bypass Techniques book, founder of Malware Analysis Co. Myself, malware researcher and red teamer for over 13 years. Also a YouTuber, blogger and lecturer. You can follow me on the Twitter handle, Malfazer. The agenda for the course. So first of all, in today's video, we'll understand what is malware. Then we'll go and understand types of malware and what is malware analysis and why is needed in the world. Then we go into some malware analysis methods that we go through the course. And of course, you can always visit Malware Analysis Co. website for gaining more resources, tools, and read about my latest research. So what is malware? So malware is derived from the word malicious software, and it plays a part in most computer intrusion and security incidents. Most of the intrusion and cyber attacks are based on malware. It can be a ransomware, info stealers, remote administration tool, or in short, rat, and other very sophisticated stuff. Let's continue to the types of malware. The first malware is a virus or worm. So virus is a malicious code that can copy itself and infect additional computers. There are those viruses that can copy themselves or a malicious code into other files in the same system, and worms can propagate even to other computers. Then we have also Trojan horse. Trojan horse is not literally a malware, but it's more a type or a capability that is becoming part of the malware that an attacker is writing. For example, an attacker can write a war malware or ransomware and make it look like a legitimate malware. And the fact that the malware looks legitimate makes it a Trojan horse. Then we have the ransomware, which is a type of malware that prevents users from accessing their system or personal files and demands ransom payment in order to regain access. Of course, ransomware will encrypt files and other type of artifacts in order to prevent users from using their system, and of course making a great harm to organizations. Then you have also what's so-called rootkits, which are malicious code designed to conceal the existing of other code or other malware. Rootkits are running in the inner recesses of your system, in places like the kernel itself, and in several cases even conducts attacks like DCOM or direct kernel object manipulation in order to manipulate kernel objects or structures in order to evade defense systems and also to hide other malicious code. And we have also backdoors, which are malicious code that installs itself onto a computer to allow the attacker an access to the system, if it's via opening a listening port or installing a service as a persistent mechanism, and so on. We'll, of course, see all of those in our course. We have also other type of malware like fileless malware, which is a malicious code that executes in the memory and persists as a known file object like the registry, scheduled tasks, and more. We have adware, which its main purpose is to inject and display ads in the browser or even monetize ads by using your browser but without actually presenting the ads to you. So it's all of its code and ads that are injected into your browser is under the ground. You can take one of my blogs that I wrote, for example, Schleyer, which is a macOS malware, and you can see that it actually hides the ads but makes money. Of course, if you want to understand how it makes money, you can read it on the blog. You have other type of malware like spyware, which basically spies on the end user. Mostly they're attacking cell phones and smartphones, but there are spywares also for computers. They want to know about your location and the apps that you're using messages, SMS, and so on. And of course, we have keylogger, which is a malware piece of code which logs keystrokes, mouse clicks, and even takes screenshots. You can see my video on dissecting RDMAX keylogger, for example, on a keylogger, which not only takes your keystrokes, but also screenshots and other stuff. So what is malware analysis and why we need it? In short, malware analysis is the art of analyzing and research of malicious software behavior and patterns. And in this course, I don't want to make things theoretical, but I want to go as much as possible and as much as practical as we can, and show as much as more examples as I can. And the way that I will present you the course is with a lot of practical examples, and I don't want it to be theoretical, but more practical. But of course, in order to understand the practical aspects, we need to understand the theoretics behind it. So after we understood in general what is malware and what is malware analysis, let's go into understanding some different malware analysis methods. So the most basic malware analysis method that a researcher or an analyst can use is what's called an automated analysis. An automated analysis is based on what's called a virtual sandbox, which is a virtualized environment with an operating system installed on top of it. It can be a Linux-based, macOS, Windows-based operating system. And in top of those systems, you can basically drop and execute any type of malware you want. It can be a document file, PDF, Word, it can be an executable, and so on. And at the end of the analysis, it will present you a report with all of the indicators of compromise, malicious functions that were used, and other interesting and valuable stuff. The downside of automated analysis is there are malware that have the capability of detecting the presence of automated sandbox and can basically evade them. So if you run a malware inside an automated sandbox and you see a very short report, you can rest assured that this malware detected the presence of an automated sandbox. Then you have what's called static analysis. This is where you analyze malware and its artifacts, you see its strings, functions, and other things without actually executing or running it on the system. After you understood the story behind the malware in its static level, you can go into the dynamic analysis. And in the dynamic analysis, you actually execute the malware. So if in the static analysis, you gain the foundation and the stuff that you can expect from the malware, then you can think of what will possibly happen when you will execute the malware in the dynamic analysis phase. So it's not that you go first into automated analysis, then you go into static analysis, then into dynamic, and then into reverse engineering. You can go in whatever way you want. So in cases, for example, that you research a malware or analyze it and you see that it's packed, you don't really have too much of a choice to reverse engineer the packing mechanism and extract its payload, or to basically execute the malware and see how it behaves on your system. So you will not always have the ability to statically analyze the malware and learn everything from it. So basically think of it like this. Malware analysis is a very, very dynamic and open-minded profession or thing. It's not like you're going into a penetration test and you have a very, very specific methodology. Here you can sometimes start with static analysis and sometimes even start with dynamic analysis and then get over back to automated analysis, or even just start with reverse engineering. It very depends on your own methodologies, on your own way of thinking. Of course, the last step or the last stepping stone is reverse engineering, which is the most or the harder thing to do, but you have to sharpen the skill. And reverse engineering is a skill that can be developed for years and years. So if someone will tell you that you can be a reverse engineer in a couple of months, is a liar. So of course, for each of those methods, you have a very short and straightforward explanation. I will put those presentations as part of the course. Feel free to visit Malware Analysis Co. anytime for new research blogs, new tools, and other interesting insights. Thank you very much and have a great weekend. See you in the next video.